Hi, YouTube. I'm just setting up my TikTok now. If you have kids and you want to ask questions about parenting, how to build a bond, a respectful bond between kids and parents, that's what I'm here for, answering your questions. So I'm just waiting for my TikTok people to turn up, because that's where my main audience is. So I got someone on here already. I'm just waiting for my TikTok audience here. I've got about 1,500. I'm no good at YouTube. I don't understand it. I think I've got about 1,500 followers on YouTube, but my main audience, hi Dot, my main audience is on TikTok. So just waiting for everyone to turn up. See a couple of regulars already. You know, user, when you've got user, you can actually change that. Took me a while to figure that out. Hi, Michelle, you've been here before. There may be lots of Michelles out there and lots of Larissas out there, but you've got that handle, so you can't have duplicate handles. Okay. So while we're waiting for people to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, BC. I was watching something on Vancouver the other day on a YouTube video, and they were talking, and I thought, I don't recognize any of that stuff. And it was Vancouver, Washington. Okay, where have I gone wrong? My kid is spitting at me during tantrums. We'll get to that. A toddler, right? Okay. Okay, just waiting for everyone to turn up. I usually wait till I get usually about 100. Then we get going. But if it goes past a minute, then I'll just get going. Alberta, we're originally from Vancouver. Oh, okay. Usually it's the other way around, unless you're in the, what is it, oil industry in Alberta? Is that what that is? Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Hattiesburg. I've heard of that before, actually. Don't know if I'm saying it right. Okay, he's 2.5, almost 3. I'll get into that because I want to sort of talk about toddlers a little bit in this, and I'll tell you why. Oops, sorry, I got my computer shutting down. I got my computer trying to shut down. Okay, I got enough people to get going. If you go to my link above, you'll see everything I have to offer. Going from the free behavior board to the paid course and then paid coaching. That's the next level up. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out later. But in the meantime, I just want to talk about toddlers for a bit. My daughter and I go through this all the time. She's my mentor with my business. She got me started on TikTok. And I keep saying, you know, most people ask toddler questions. But most people who hire me don't have toddlers. It's really interesting. So I've kind of catered more to the people that I'm coaching, the people that hire me. You know, I've been trying to answer questions that are more complicated, older ones. But 99.9% of you watching me are probably toddler parents. Am I right? So anyway, I did a poll on Instagram. What would you like me to talk about? Toddler, 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 toddler. All these toddler questions, unbelievable. So anyway, I did a recent video and it did really well, actually. It was toddlers who hit or something like that. Anyway, is it normal to feel like a bad parent? Yes, absolutely. Anyway, and what struck me as interesting is I did this video on toddlers who hit, and it just flew, like instantly flew. And I thought, what did I think? Anyway, the point is, you all seem to think that there's something wrong with your toddlers, don't you? Don't you? And you all seem to think there's something wrong with you. Am I right? Have I got that right? Can I get some likes there to let me know? Am I right about that? You think there's something wrong with your toddler. You think there's something wrong with you. You think you're completely messing up. Is that what I'm getting here with parents of toddlers? Because, by the way, your toddler is crazy. That's completely normal. And the fact that they drive you nuts, that's completely normal. Okay? So stop beating yourself up. Toddlers are crazy. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just absolutely crazy. The 2 best pieces of advice I can give you when dealing with toddlers is completely child-proof your whole house so that you're never saying no to them. There's nothing they can get into. Also, the second one is do a toy rotation system so they're never bored. They've always got something new to look at. They will remember that thing they haven't seen in a week or a month, but it's like they kind of look at it and play with it from fresh eyes, okay? So keep rotating the toys. It keeps them more interested. That'll keep them out of your hair more too. So does that make sense that you think there's something wrong with your toddler? You also think there's something wrong with you because of your crazy toddler. They are crazy. They don't make any sense yet. Remember, they're one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. Okay? There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your toddler. You're just new at this and you're trying to figure them out. Don't try and figure them out. If I tried to figure out toddlers, I'd be insane by now because they don't make any sense. They haven't got context of the world yet. They don't have any foresight. They don't have any, maybe I shouldn't do this or else that'll happen. They can't reason things out yet, okay? And I'm talking under 3. When they're 3, they can start to reason, put them on the behavior board. That's free. If you go in the link above, it's free. So does that make sense? 2 things. Completely childproof your house and rotate the toys. Put 90% of their toys away in boxes and just rotate them all the time. Okay, that was a little bit of a speech, but does that make sense? Does that make you feel any better? That also, you're not alone. Look at look how common those videos, look at the views on those videos. And often I'll get clients and they'll say, I'm just completely failing. My toddler's hitting, spitting, kicking, screaming all the time. And I'm like, yeah, what's the problem? They're not all like that, but a huge majority of them are. So it's like, okay, and you hired me to do what? Like, tell you that that's normal. Okay, anyway. Not to say that there's nothing you can do. Lots of people, I got lots of clients with toddlers, but there's lots of things that we can do. And it's all about managing your own emotions, getting yourself organized, getting yourself a plan in place. So yeah, they are nuts though. Absolutely. They can stick their hand down their pants and smear poop on the wall. Completely normal for a toddler. They're not all going to do it, but that's completely normal. I did that when I was a baby. My mom got up in the morning and I'd smeared poop all over the wall. I don't know how old I was. I don't know. 18, 19 years old? No, I don't know. Anyway, but I was under 1, I think, and I'd done that. And mom couldn't handle it. She just walked in and she said she goes, Phil, and he goes in and he laughed and he goes, no worse than an old cow barn, because he was raised on a farm, so he cleaned me all up. So yeah, maybe I am nuts. Maybe that was the start of it. But does it make sense? Are you with me now? Do you get it? Those videos take off. Every time I talk about toddlers, they hit a nerve because you are not alone. Okay. My daughter throws so many tantrums, it's hard to ignore. That's Murmur. How old is your daughter? I can't answer that unless, is she 12 or is she 2? Different answers. Okay, how do I encourage a relationship with my 20-month-old to his baby brother who's 2 weeks? You don't. You just have to wait until he gets used to her being around. It might be about 6 months, 3 months maybe, until they get used to that little one being around. And even then, toddlers don't usually play with anybody. If you watch them, you watch 2 2-year-olds playing together, they're usually playing side by side. And they might be playing with the same thing, but they're not usually interacting. They're not really playing together. They're just playing in the same vicinity. So to expect a toddler to know how to share and have empathy towards a new baby, and that is completely unrealistic. Just wait it out. Okay, she's 2.5 years old. That's really common, but usually by about the age, they can start to minimize. And I wrote it down because I keep forgetting. You guys helped me out with this. I couldn't figure out what it was. It's if you ignore tantrums, they will decrease in frequency, intensity, and I couldn't come up with this other word. It's duration. I was saying in length of time that they are happening when they're happening. Anyway, so yeah, if you learn to ignore tantrums, they will decrease in duration, intensity, and frequency. They'll eventually just die out because any attention is tantrum food. You're feeding it and it's going to grow and grow and continue and continue. So yeah, learn to ignore it. My real proof of this too is I've worked with hundreds of kids, but in our relationship with my ex-husband, he was I was the leader for sure. I was the disciplinarian. He was the treat master. He was a great dad, but we had our very distinct roles and it worked for us because I didn't want him messing the kids up. I wanted to do all the discipline, but the kids knew they could push dad around more than mom. So their tantrums, or only my son had tantrums. They would definitely push their dad when they were little. They would push him around more than mom. So it's not, they do learn from a very young age, because you could just see their wheels turning when they're about 2 or 3. They're figuring it out. They're going, wait a minute, this ain't working. Mom's making sure of that. And then once they realized that dad was just going to tell mom on them, he would say, not to tantrums, but if they were acting out, he would say, do you want me to tell mom? That's all he had to say. And they'd go, no. But when they're young, they're under 3 and they're still having tantrums, just ignore them, completely ignore them. I just did a video. I just did it last night. And it was on the swing story. Look up the swing story. That's a really good lesson for tantrums. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing here. Yeah, it's the swing store. I just did it last night. It's a video on here. When is it too many tantrums? No, you're not going to corner me into that one. There is no, I've heard of some kids who just tantrum all day. I turn on TikTok on my computer and it starts up with a video right away. Anyway, I didn't want to do that. But anyway, but yeah, there are no too many tantrums, but they might go through stages where they have tantrums all the time. And then usually if you ignore them, they will drop off because they're going to realize this isn't working. They'll just sort of let you ignore the crazy, which is a tantrum. It's not bad behavior. It's the crazy zone. You ignore the crazy, you reward the calm. With you standing there filing your nails while they're having a tantrum, they're watching you. They're not going to listen to you. Do not do those mini therapy sessions. Words are useless with a 2-year-old. Useless. It's all about actions. They are watching you for a reaction. If they get none, tantrums just lose their power. So yeah, there is no number, right? Any tips on putting kids to sleep? Tried melatonin. I don't know anything about medication. But yeah, make sure that they don't have a lot of naps during the day. A lot of chocolates or something. Chocolate has caffeine in it. So, but yeah, a lot of parents will say to me, I hired you because our kids don't sleep at night. And then I actually had one client, can't remember how long it was, but it was like 2 naps a day. And one of them was like 3 hours long, these naps. The kid was like 4 and they were sleeping basically all day. So they were out of the parents' hair. They were wallowing in this time when the kid was sleeping, and then the kid wouldn't sleep at night. So they'd be up all night. So we had to wean them off these naps. We took one nap away completely, and the other one, we woke this kid up after an hour. Both my kids stopped regular naps at 12 months old. They would have accidental naps, but they both stopped regular naps at 12 months old, and they slept great at night. So they didn't need a lot of sleep though. My kids weren't hyperactive or overly active. So they didn't need a lot of sleep anyway. And they were easy kids, so I didn't mind having them up. I used to get up really early every single morning, like before the sun came up. I'm finding it, I'm 62 now, I'm finding that harder to do. I'm still up really early, but yeah, I was always up before them. 2-year-old that bites. Okay, I have a course on that. If you go in my link above, it has toddlers who hit, kick, etc. So yeah, it's a whole course on that. And it's just under 3 years old, the way that you discipline is through consistent corrective actions, not words, not words, not words. It just isn't. It's about actions because they learn through repetition. So if you keep saying no and then you just remove yourself or push them away when they go to bite, you say no and then you walk away, they will eventually learn. But they don't learn the first time, or maybe the 50th. It might take 100 times of that. And then they'll probably try it again after a week. They've learned, they stop doing it. You go, oh, problem solved. Then they'll bite again. You go, what is wrong with you? They're just going to give it another go. That's all. I just did a little speech at the beginning of this live, and I talked about toddlers, how those toddler videos have been taking off. I did a poll on Instagram on what you want me to talk about in a video. Toddler, 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 toddler biting, toddler hitting, toddler climbing, toddler, toddler, toddler. It was unbelievable. And then parents, I'm just a mess. I'm a lousy parent. I can't, my toddler this. The thing is, toddlers are crazy. It's not your fault. Parents are blaming themselves for their toddlers biting, kicking, spitting, hitting, screaming. It's not your fault. They're just crazy. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. Quit trying to figure them out. They're just nuts, okay? But make it the 2 best things I can offer you for dealing with toddlers. I do a whole bunch of stuff in coaching too, but on TikTok here, the 2 things I can recommend to making your life with toddlers easier is that you childproof your home so they can't get into anything. My home looked ridiculous. From the waist down and the waist up were 2 completely different houses. There was nothing from the waist down. So I never had to say no to my toddlers. Plus I did a toy rotation system. So they never were bored. They always had new toys to look at because I was just rotating old toys all the time. So like maybe once a week I would do it. Oh, you're going to have to hire me for that one about the daycare. I don't even want to say the word because I'll get blocked here on TikTok. I deal with all that kind of stuff in coaching. How can I get my almost 3-year-old to listen without threats like taking something away? Well, listen to what? Are you telling them to stop doing something or start doing something? So are you trying to get them to not do what you don't like or do what you do like? There's a big difference in how we deal with that. And you don't get toddlers to listen. You get them to do what they know that they're going to have to do. Like it's hard to explain, but they're never really listening to you when they're toddlers. That's why these freaking mini therapy sessions that are the bane of my existence these days, I have to repair that every single time I'm working with, every single day it comes up. People are doing these mini therapy sessions with toddlers and kids, discussing all their problems and their big feelings and big emotions. Oh, God. Give me a break. Children do not need therapy unless they've gone through some horrendous, awful experience. And then you got to hire me for that. That's different. But yeah, they don't need therapy, these therapy sessions. You're not ignoring their emotions, but they don't need therapy. There's just drives me freaking insane. I guess having his toys in the same spot for a while had him bored. Oh, absolutely. I used to do all sorts of weird stuff. I would put all the toys out in the living room or all the blocks or something, and then I'd put a blanket over them. Just little things like that. Or else I'd put the toys on the chairs under the dining room table. I was always mixing stuff up, like just keeping them guessing. So they'd always get up like, what's mom done now? It was like I was exciting. I was fun with toddlers because I was making their world interesting. Didn't take much time. How long does it take to throw blankets over a bunch of toys? And they never knew what was going to be underneath there either. I did a pack of stuff. That's a good video, actually. Hid toys under blanket. And it was funny because when my kids were really little, they didn't know how to take the blanket off in one go. They would lift it and go to reach for something, and the blanket would fall on top of them and the toys. I would be laughing. Finally, they learned to pull the whole blanket off, and it was all exposed. That was no fun anymore. You got to mix their world up, make things look different. We're all like that. By the way, our brains are different. We have habits. We're fully formed. Well, some of us are. I sometimes wonder if I am. I call myself a big toddler because I'm really childlike in a lot of ways. I'm 62 years old. My daughter says, no, you're very mature and you're the responsible type. But she goes, but you're full of wonder, a sense of wonder. I think that's why I like kids so much, because they are too. As you get older, you tend to go more into comfort zones. Children don't. They like routine and structure overall, but they get very much more excited by new challenges than that. You take them to a new playground, they're diving in usually right away. The older they get, the less likely they are to do that. But they just have this sense of wonder where they're like, and that's why you want to change up their environment all the time. You don't have to move houses. You just move where their toys are, move where they're sitting, maybe even in the high chair. It's a different view, So mix things up for them. But not their bedtime. You don't say, okay, 11 o'clock tonight you go to bed, 7 o'clock last night. Certain things they need structure and routine. Meals, I would say bedtime, yes, structure, routine. My almost 3-year-old's in daycare while I work full time. Should I be worried he feels abandoned? Well, what do you want me to say to that? I don't know how to answer that. How do I put it? I don't know if he does or not. I have no idea. They do want to be with you. But abandoned, he's got other people. Does he miss you? Perhaps. Does he feel abandoned? I don't really think so. But I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. If you're feeling that way. You're feeling a lot of guilt. Usually what I do with clients when I'm coaching them is I'll say, I'll tell you what, every time you pick them up, you get home, the first thing you do is play hide and seek with them. First thing you do, 5 minutes. Everyone can take 5 minutes out of their chores, getting laundry started, getting dinner started, just 5 minutes, play hide and seek with them. That sets them up for feeling special. So at the end of the day, you're excited to see them, play hide and seek with them, do something like that. In their world, you never bond with a child at the nail salon. You bond in their world. So just something like that. It shows them how excited you are to see them. And you're not just rushing around. Yeah, okay, I'll get to that. You play, here's a screen to look at while I'm getting dinner on the go. It doesn't have to be 5 hours of playing. 5 minutes can really fill their cup up. One of the most beautiful women I've seen. Oh, sorry, thank you. I'm just talking about me. Thank you very much. I'm very down to earth. What you see is what you get. If you think you're seeing anything that I'm not in person, I'm the exact same person everywhere I go. Look for that. There's a lot of people out there who are making life sound perfect with their children. And it's not, life is messy. If you see people on here talking about this is the perfect thing to do, or it's all harmonious, look at how beautiful I am, how beautiful my kids are, do not watch those moms on there. It's all a facade, okay? Look at the ones who are failing at parenting. They have baby poop on their forehead. They haven't had a shower in 2 days. Those are the parents you really want to look at, because life is messy. Parenting's messy. It's supposed to be, though. But you're supposed to, certain things, you want to get respect cemented for sure. That leadership stuff, that's what I teach, right? You want to get that relationship cemented. But other than that, don't try and be perfect and pretty and all that stuff. Did you care about the mess when you had preschoolers? I feel like I always want to clean. I'm such a neat freak. You really want me to answer this? You're not going to like my answer. Most people are going to hate it. I'm a very fussy person. My whole house was always spotless with kids, house full of kids and animals. I love cleaning, but I don't clean dirty. I maintain clean. That's why I had a rotation system going with all the toys. To put all their toys away was 2 minutes. So I'm extremely fussy. I find cleaning very relaxing. If I hated it, I wouldn't do it. Not to the extent I do. But yeah, I was very clean and organized throughout my kids' lives. I won't go into it too much because it's a bit nuts. I always thought I was OCD, but I'm not. My daughter's OCD. Now I know I'm not OCD. There's a difference. Hers is with safety, but yeah, OCD causes stress. If you're worried about, if my house is dirty or if I have people over, I don't clean. I clean after guests, not before. So if people have been over, it doesn't stress me out, but I'm excited about having a mess to clean up. Whereas with your OCD, you probably wouldn't even want to have people over. So yeah, I am extremely fussy. That's just my thing. Okay. I don't talk about it. I mean, I talk about being a little bit nuts with clean, but I never put that on my kids. Neither of them is fussy at all. I was born that way. I remember I loved cleaning when I was really little. So how'd you keep it clean? I have 5 kids. I hate clean. If you hate cleaning, you're not going to do it. That's like saying, how do you eat all that ice cream? How do you eat all that? Because I love it. How do you clean? I love it. I just happen to love cleaning and organizing. So I can't tell people how to do that. If you hate it, then don't do it. Is it that big a deal? No, I can go sit in someone else's filthy house. I could care less. It's not my house. I only care about my own home. So don't worry about it. If you're not into cleaning, don't do it. I mean, you should clean certain things, but you know what I'm saying? It's not that important. And I already said here, life is messy. Kids are messy. Parenting's messy. Don't worry about it. If you hate cleaning, hire someone or just do whatever you got to do to get by. Because I never expected, can you explain the type of cleaning schedule you had? I have cleaning. I love cleaning as well. I clean pretty much everything every day. But I take a wet cloth, doesn't have to have anything on it because nothing's ever sticky or dirty or greasy. I take just a wet cloth and I basically hit pretty much every surface in my whole home every day. Throughout the day, I'll hit it. Just a wet cloth and I go around the whole house. And I wash the floors probably 2 or 3 times a day because I enjoy doing it. I hate dust or anything on my floor. I am nuts. I could tell you stories. My kids have a whole bunch of stories, but I never clean in front of people. Yeah, I'm a closet cleaner. I clean closets too. But yeah, I don't like cleaning in front of people because that would be like meditating in front of people. To me, it's relaxing. Oh, I hate dusting though. Like you could find dust up, not on my floor, but you could find dust up in high shelves. So, I don't think it's the way to be, just the way I am. It's like, it would be like if I was Catholic. I would say, yeah, I'm Catholic. I'm not religious, by the way, but if I was, I'd say I'm Catholic. But you do you. You be Jewish or Muslim or whatever. You do you. If you're not into cleaning, don't worry about it. No nice person who's into cleaning is going to judge you for not cleaning. That's just my way. I wish you lived with me. I hate my floors. They need cleaning 10 times a day. Yeah. Okay, I enjoy cleaning, but get overwhelmed when everything doesn't have a home. Get rid of stuff. I'm a minimalist too, like I just get rid of stuff. So if I had too much stuff, I would start donating. And you put something away for a while, and if you don't look for it, put it in a box somewhere, put it up high. If you don't look for it within a month or two, so long as it's not seasonal, like you don't put skis away in summer and then chuck them because you haven't used them. You know what I mean? If it's not seasonal, put it away. If you haven't looked for it in a month, get rid of it. Lots of people could use your stuff. Donate it. Okay. You said my daughter, I'm assuming that they are, Alexis Clean ASMR. I watch a lot of clean. No, I don't watch a lot of cleaning videos because they're not usually that good at it. But there is one I watch. I'm obsessed with her. She knows how to clean, but she also has 3 kids and lets her house get absolutely filthy. And then she cleans it. She cleans dirty. I don't. I maintain clean. So she's actually probably a better cleaner because she lets things get dirty. But God, she knows how to clean better than I do. Okay. Okay, my daughter has just started to hit, and I put her down or sit her down and walk away. Is that bad? No, you just say no, and then you put her down. I would. The consistent corrective actions. If they're under 3 years old, consistent corrective actions, because they learn through repetition. She'll eventually learn. Or else you could just stop her from hitting. If she's going to go hit, you say no, and then you give them a serious look, and then you could just ignore them. You could still be holding her, but you're holding her hands, and you're not talking to her or looking at her for a few seconds or a minute or so. Depends on how old she is. Okay, at the age of 3, if they're hitting, you go on my link above and you can get my behavior board for free. If you want to get the course, it goes from 3 to 12-year-olds, how to get respect. It goes into everything. But the behavior board's kind of the first step, or it's the free step, what I got to offer. Put no hitting on the behavior board as their rule. It's always no hitting. If you yell, your rule is always no yelling. If they hit, their rule is always no hitting. Is there a way to contact you about specific questions and get some help? Well, you can hire me for coaching. That's what you do. I don't answer questions for free on email. I know people send them to me all the time. If I did that, I'd be doing that all day, right? So I got to put food on the table. So I run a business here. But yeah, this is my free content. My lives are free content. My videos are free. But you have to hire me if you want to ask me questions one-on-one. You have to hire me. Well, my 3-year-old gets very angry, and it's almost like she blacks out and hurts my 1-year-old. Yeah, she just goes into the crazy zone. But I would watch that because you just have to supervise her. If you see that you usually know when it's coming on. If you see that's coming on, keep them separate. You got to keep that 1-year-old safe, okay? So just keep them separate. But yeah, I know what you're saying. She almost blacks out, goes like into this crazy zone. But yeah, that's just the temper taking over. That's when you see red. Lots of kids do that. My son had tantrums. My daughter never did. Hmm. Okay. Any advice on how to stop my 4-year-old from crying when I drop him off at school every morning? Yeah, they'll just learn, but do the dump and run really fast. And then end it with, love you, I'll see you at 3. You don't say, love you, you'll be gone all day, or I won't see you all day. Always end with when you're going to see them. They'll eventually outgrow it. If he does it a lot, like he's been doing it for a long time, it's because of your reaction. So I would just do the dump and run. That's what I used to call it. Dump and run. Love you. I'll see you at 3. And my kids never cried. But I did. I'd go in the parking lot and cry on the first day of grade 1. Okay. Yeah. You're saying you love cleaning. It's your meditation. Yeah. And some people love cooking. Some people love crafts, reading, whatever does it for you, whatever is your meditation zone. Mine is cleaning for sure. I also love working out. That helps me a lot, just in life. But yeah, find what suits you. We're all different. Like we all have something that gets us through parenting or whatever. You do what you got to do. I said that a while ago to a client, and they said, "How about alcohol?" I said, no comment. Remember years ago, it was my very first TV appearance. And just before we went on, I said, if I mess up, I'd never been on TV before, and I was brand new at this business. Someone had seen me I just started this business 17 years ago, and someone saw me talking at this event. And I'd never done public speaking, and several media people were walking by, and they all asked me to come on TV. So anyway, I did my very first event. And I said, if I mess up, can we redo it? And they said, it's live, like it's breakfast TV. And they said, it's live. Like I was nuts. I didn't know it was live. So anyway, then they go 3, 2, and we were on. And anyway, the reason I'm mentioning this is they said, because I used to mentor troubled teens. That's kind of how I started my business. They said, how do you manage that? Well, when they're just feral and, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I drink quite heavily. Got a big laugh. They asked me to come back after the break. And then I asked them to film me above the waist in case I pooped my pants because I was so nervous. I was never that funny ever again. But I used to do a lot of TV. But anyway, I was never that funny ever again. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend leaning on alcohol. I just used that and then I had to retract it because there's always people out there saying that this parenting expert is recommending that you drink heavily to get through. Ah. What do you do when they kick during changes and toys ignoring behavior doesn't work? Well, okay, so when you say changes, you're changing their diaper and they're kicking you. My son was more inclined to do that. Well, they were wigglers. They weren't kicking, they were wigglers like that. But I did the old elbow on the chest and or the forearm across their chest, and I'd hold their legs down. I'd use both hands sort of like that to get their diaper done. And they just learned that mom was like on and off really fast. And they just learned. But they wiggled more with dad because he didn't have that firm hold on them. But they didn't think anything of it. They just knew. So yeah, I just muscled them, I guess you'd say. It's like, how do you get them in the car seat when they go like that? I waited till they'd take a breath and then snap them in there like just a karate chop right in the middle. So they always kind of knew mom was going to win, But yeah, they're going to wiggle for a while. Especially when they're once they're up and walking, that's when they really start to wiggle on the change table. I struggle to brush the teeth of my 2-year-old. He bites the brush and refuses to open mouth. Well, I don't really want to recommend what I usually tell clients when I'm coaching them. Let me think, should I? I'll give you a half answer. Yeah, and I don't really want to tell you. Why don't I want to say that? It's a little bit controversial, that's why. Okay, never mind. So they don't want to have their teeth brushed and they won't open up their mouth. I would say I would just have a really quick little show or a little song on the iPad or something that they love, or on your phone that they love, and say, if you open your mouth, you can watch it, and have your hand on that stop button. As soon as they close their mouth, turn it around or stop it. And then when they open their mouth, so have like a reward system. And I'm not going to tell you what that was that I often say to parents. It works, but it's controversial. And I might not use it in future. I might just use this other one. Because sometimes I recommend what I would do with my own kids, but not necessarily what I'm comfortable teaching. Because remember, I was a real leader with my kids already, but if you're not a leader, sometimes these methods don't work. So that's why I give different advice in coaching. I've already sort of told them how to be a leader, so they're already kind of learning. But if I just tell you and you have no leadership skills with your kids yet, this other stuff that I teach might not work. That's why it's different. But yeah, just have a show that they love and say, if you keep your mouth open, I'll brush your teeth. As soon as they close their mouth, say, nope, you open your mouth. You see, they'll connect it. Probably not the first day, but 2-year-old will run off in public, put them on a leash, a restraint, or a harness. Absolutely 100%. You don't want them flattened by a bus, right? It's a safety issue. So make them earn their freedom. So then you might start out with them not on a leash, but then as soon as they run, clip and say no running, and just they might have a tantrum. That's okay. You got to be willing to head right into that storm. If you're worried about their reaction, they're totally in charge. As soon as a kid is threatening me with a tantrum, and I know they're going to have a tantrum, I'm like, bring it on. That's my opportunity to exercise my leadership. You're a runner. You're going to be clipped in if you run. That's it. I don't explain myself. That's it. Clipped in for the rest of that outing. Not on and off, on, back and forth, back and forth. They run, you clip them in. It's that whole rest of that outing. Once they've run once, clip them in. They're going to scream and have an absolute fit, but they will learn. You got to be willing to face this stuff. If you're not willing to do the hard stuff with kids, it's never going to get any easier. Does that make sense? You have to be willing to go through the storm to get to the rainbow. Everyone wants the rainbow. Yeah, but how do I keep them safe without them having a fit? I don't know. I wouldn't have a clue. It doesn't make any sense at all to me. You have to be willing to go through that storm. Everyone wants the rainbow. Lisa, I'm hired you. I just want the rainbow. I said, well, you want your money back? Like you got to be willing to go through the tough stuff. Things usually get worse before they get better. And every lesson is hard. Okay. Lessons are not like, here's a lesson. Oh, we'll just sail right through it. Every lesson is hard. Learning stuff is hard with little kids because they basically, when they're little, they just don't understand that they can't always have what they want, when they want, how they want it. That's what toddlers are. I want this now and I want it this way and I want it now. And I'm going to have a fit if I don't get it. That's what they're like. Not all of them. Some of them have tantrums, some of them don't. But that's normal for a toddler. They don't understand, why can't I have everything I don't want the way I want it, when I want it? They just don't get that. That's your job to teach them that. Well, I'll answer this quick question first. Sydney, you've been here before, haven't you? What age would you stop making your kids take a nap? Mine both stopped themselves at around 12 months. They had accidental naps, but they both stopped at 12 months. Every single child is completely different. They all need different sleep times. Okay, like I'm like that. Like I used to need 8 hours. Now I can go on 6 or 7, and other people need 9. We all have different sleep schedules. This one is, what do you do when a 5-year-old that wakes up at 1 to 5 a.m. and gets into anything not locked? That's a very tricky one. So that's not the first time I've heard that, by the way. Some of them will do that. So you're going to have to put a bell on their door or something where you hear them get up. And you're just going to have to get up and then do that bedtime battle stuff where you put them back to bed and you say you stay in bed. And every time they get up, then the next time they get up, you don't even talk to them. Just keep putting them back in bed silently. You're going to have to put a bell on that door. You asked about emotional regulation. That's that pleaser parent trendy stuff that's going around. It happens organically. When you're a leader, it just happens. You don't need the therapy sessions. I know they're trendy. Those mini therapy sessions with children, they're just absolute garbage. It happens organically. They learn. It just happens organically. You don't emotionally regulate children. Jeez. Oh, I'd like to meet the person who invented that. Oh, no, I wouldn't. I don't know anybody out there who's teaching anything. I stay in my own lane. I'm not going to critique anyone, but I will critique trends that are going on out there. I just don't know who teaches them. I have no clue. So yeah, that's just emotional regulation. They do not need a therapist unless they've been abused or something. Then they might need therapy. But even it's you set off that button on me. That's a hot button with me. Because I have to fight it every single day in coaching. Because that's the trend that's out right now. This pleaser parent stuff. Discuss all their big feelings, all their big emotions, and this mini therapy sessions with kids. Kids don't need therapy unless they've been abused or there's something horrible going on. But generally, it's all organic. They learn. They learn to go towards the light. If I'm good, I used to tell my kids, if you're good, life is good. If you're bad, life ain't so good. I'll make sure that's my job. I'm your mom. That's how I emotionally regulated them. That was it. We had fun. It was fun. They could talk to me about anything. But yeah, if they were doing something they shouldn't do, there's no freaking way they were going to get any kind of a therapy session over it. No way. Yeah, you push that button. That got me going there. All my regulars know. They were like, God, don't ask. Don't get her started. I have an alarm on it and he will run through the door and close it quickly. But yeah, he's sneaky, but you got to get sneakier. He's only 5. You can't outsmart a 5-year-old. You got to get a bigger alarm. Get something that goes off that slaps you in the face when the alarm goes off. You know what I'm saying? Like outsmart him. People do this all the time. Oh, that wouldn't work. He's too clever for that. He can do that. Yeah, I've never once met a kid that I couldn't figure out, that I couldn't work around or work with. Not once, not ever. I dealt with delinquent, violent teenagers. I mentored them. There wasn't one kid I couldn't get respect from. So ever. So do you think we don't need to talk about emotions as much? Focus on the good, the positive. Have fun with your kids. When something goes bad, say, yeah, that's really difficult. But yeah, let's work it through together. But not when they're bad. If they are bad, just say, you don't do that. Here's the consequence. Done. That's the problem. It's when, well, what about the feelings that made you do that? And I just wanted it. That's all. You're overanalyzing everything. And you're just, Well, I know where it leads, okay? Because I get the older kids who've been raised that way, and I know what it does. So that's what frustrates me. It's years of doing that, and then I know where it leads. Self-entitled snowflakes that can't handle anything, you know, but you didn't validate my feelings. I'm just the bus driver lady. Like that's what you're doing to your kids. They're snowflakes. They're mental health issues. They're weak. It's just ugh this weakness. You're raising weak children. And that's that please your parent style. It's been in about 25, 30 years now. When it first started coming out, I remember saying this to people. That's going to raise self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. Here we are. Anyway, and then I was just railroaded. When I first started my business, my methods were just, I was attacked right, left, and center. And yet people were hiring me when they had problems. So when in crisis, they would all hire me. But just if they weren't really struggling, oh, she's just ignoring children and doing and this and that. Well, I had a great relationship with my kids, and I've worked with hundreds of kids, and my kids are independent. You know what I mean? Like it just was so frustrating for me because I saw what was going wrong. Do you know why? That style of parent, I know exactly how it all started. I won't go into it. I've been studying this for decades. I know exactly why it started, how it started, who started it. I know all that. This is years and years and years ago. Anyway, the reason why it's so trendy is it's all built to make the mom feel good about herself. It's all for the mom. It has nothing to do with the kids or the husband even. It's the mom. And it's feeding the mom, thinking she's nurturing her children, whereas really you're not building strong children who make good choices. Yeah, it's frustrating. The old-fashioned way is the better way. The authority, my way or the highway. I don't do that either. But this new trendy, it's not even trendy anymore. It's been out for decades. But this pleaser parent stuff, the authority raises teenagers who will rebel, but they'll come out the other end stronger, tougher, and very thankful for their parents being tough. They love them enough to discipline them. The pleaser parent raises teenagers that walk all over them and never appreciate or respect them, and are always asking for money because they were used to the red carpet being rolled out for them. So yeah. Yeah, it's fine to talk about emotions, but you don't need to talk about emotions when a kid just hit someone or a kid just broke something in anger. That it's like it's overdone. Okay. I don't know what the CIO method is. I have no clue. By the way, I've never read a book on parenting. I've never watched anyone else talk about parenting. I don't know anything about what anyone else out there is doing. Kids taught me all this. So all of my learning is organic. I learned through children. I learned through experience. Cry it out method. Yes and no. Depends on the age and the situation. If a kid's just been bullied at school and you want them to cry it out, no. If they just hit someone else and they're upset because they got caught and they didn't like it that you said no and took a toy away, yeah, I'd let them cry that out. Yep. What consequences would you use for hitting? It depends on the age, and I don't know the situation. Usually, okay, here's the thing. If they hit a younger sibling, let's say they're 5 and they have a 2-year-old sibling. If they hit that 2-year-old, they have to let that 2-year-old play with their favorite toy for a whole hour. That's the consequence. That's a good one. That's one of the best ones that I use with clients. They say it works. They do not like that at all. And there's all sorts of stuff. There's a whole bunch of other things that go around that too. But that's one of my best methods. That's quick, and the punishment fits the crime. So you do something mean to someone, you have to correct it by doing something nice for that person, you see? Because you're not just, oh, I asked my fire alarm went off. Yeah, that was the other day. I was like, oh, what do I pack? I have a list of everything I would grab. But then we did have a fire alarm in the middle of the night recently. This one was just a test the other day. We did have a fire alarm there, and I didn't bring anything that was on my list. I think I brought extra toilet paper. I think I brought an umbrella on a sunny warrant. Like, it was just the stupidest thing because the alarm's going. It is so loud, you just can't think. Anyway, and plus I don't have any kids or dogs or pets to look after anymore. My first instinct was always to grab the kids and the pets. So, yeah, I think I brought toilet paper down out front with me in my building. What was I thinking? Oh, God. Anyway. How early do we start disciplining? It's about, let me think. It's a ballpark, about 10 months. This is how you do it. If a 10-month-old hits or bites, you go like this. You hold them and you hold them away and you look at them directly in the eyes and you say, no, no. And you watch, they're watching you. You just say it like that, very seriously, very calmly. You never want to discipline or say it like that to the point where they cry. You just want to cry. You get very serious. No. And they'll usually laugh or cry. They're trying to pull you in, right? Because it makes them uncomfortable. You just go like that. And then you just look away for a while and then you go back to normal. You don't drag it out. But yeah, about 10 months, but it's just very, very, very mild. So it's not really discipline. It's just correcting them. It sounds gentler than disciplining. But discipline, actually, I see discipline as a great word because I like self-discipline. It's the exact same thing. How can you be a self-disciplined adult if you've never been disciplined growing up? It's a lot harder for your kids to learn discipline. Both my kids are fantastic workers. They have really good discipline. And it's because they had discipline growing up. I taught them how to be self-disciplined. I would say they were self-disciplining when they were about 4, 3.5 to 4. I didn't really have to discipline them anymore. They just understood to make good choices. And if they didn't, mom would say, didn't like that. Okay, tonight you're going to have to, I don't know, brush my hair or something. And then when you're really close to your kids and you have a lot of fun and everything, and they respect you, they would be embarrassed to act out in front of you. Like my kids were never said anything like I hate you or anything. What they wouldn't. They would have been embarrassed to talk to me like that because they looked up to me. I was their leader. And I never yelled at them or anything. Like we didn't have that kind of relationship. It would have been embarrassing to be mean to each other because there was so much respect going back and forth. That's what you want. Then you can just sail right through the teen years. There's the odd hiccup. Teenagers, living with teenagers is a whole other skill level because you have to start letting them go. Then they move out and leave you. That was hard. I've tried that now, but my daughter at 7 says, I don't care. Yeah, of course she's going to say that. It's like, nah, of course she's going to say that. You just haven't figured out how to make it work. That's all. So yeah, if you want to hire me, you can do that. Or I have a course for 3 to 12-year-olds, how to get respect. It's all paced out over 5 weeks. You can read the whole course, but please don't rush it. If anything, drag it out, especially in the first week or 2. Then you get momentum going. But don't rush that course. I've been doing this for 17 years. I have paced it out exactly how I want it to go. And I've run enough people through that they said, yeah, it was paced really well. So yeah, I bought the course. Thank you. Yeah. Well, let me know how it goes, by the way. Let me know how you're going. I haven't got any alerts today from any questions or anything, but just put comments. I've left comments open in there. Sometimes people just email me directly. But I'd like to know how it's going for you because it's new. I've only had that course out since April 30th, I think, is when I first launched it. I think it was then. Anyway, so it's quite new. So you let me know. I've had enough people go through it now. I've sort of fixed it up, but just to make sure, you tweak stuff. But yeah, let me know how it's going. Travel tips with a 14-month-old. Yes. Yeah, not really. We used to travel. We did big trips like overseas. We used to live in Australia, so we came over to Canada and that with little ones. I don't think you can prepare for that so much as just psych up for it. I didn't like, especially with huge like travel, like time zone differences and all that. I just always thought it was difficult. I never enjoyed it, traveling with little ones. That's just, so I can't really help you with that because we did such huge trips, right? Like that's a big, way overseas trip. Anyway, generally though, it's sort of the same as my best suggestion is try to keep their structure as the same as possible. Don't take away dummies or bottles right before you go away. You want to hang on to that stuff that's soothing to them. And also have goodie bags. I would have a whole bunch of them where I could just have a whole bunch of little Ziploc bags that you don't give those to the little one, obviously, but they're just full of all these different little toys that they don't see all the time. Go to the dollar store, pack them up. So every single day, you put them in a little something they can play with in their car seat or whatever, wherever you are, so that they have something different to look at. It doesn't have to be exciting. It just has to be different. Children don't care about exciting. That's why they play with wrapping and cups and that instead. You know what I mean? Like they'll play with the wrapping of the toys. They don't need anything exciting. They just need something different. So yeah, just have all these little goodie bags full of different toys and stuff. But yeah, traveling with little ones. Not my favorite thing to do. I don't know what you mean by this. Well, would you discipline a 3-year-old by not sharing toys with 1-year-old brother, and how? I don't know what you mean by that. By not, would you discipline by not allowing him to share, not allowing the 1-year-old to share with him? I don't know what you mean by that. Okay, I love your parenting style and just wondering where I'm going wrong and feel like I'm failing sometimes. Yeah, well, that you have to hire me. If you've tried the free behavior board and it's not working for you, you're doing something wrong. I don't know what it is. You'd have to hire me to help you with that. So, because that is sort of like that's my free level. That's the behavior board, and lots of people get results with that. But if you have no respect whatsoever and the kids don't listen to you at all, that might not help. Okay, you have to have a little bit of respect going there to make that work. If you want my help, you can also get that course is $197 for that 5-week course. And that paces it all out. It teaches you how to become a leader. But if you're really struggling, that's coaching one-on-one. I do that on Zoom one-on-one. I'll figure it out pretty quickly what you're either missing or doing wrong. And don't hold back when you hire me. Sometimes that'll happen. They'll tell me something in week 3 that they should have told me. Because I always say, if there's something big going on, they say, well, I was embarrassed. Oh, geez, I've heard it all. You know, all I care about is your results. I get upset. I work up a sweat when I'm coaching sometimes. I want your results. I'm not going to, why would I judge you? Why the heck would I be doing this if I was going to judge you? Anyway, it frustrates me because just lay it all on the line, say what you're dealing with, and then I'll figure stuff out and we'll move forward. And it's different with everybody. I often get people, friends or sisters or brother, whatever, they hire me, and then someone, then they see the difference in the kids and their friends will hire me or their sibling. And they'll say, I got a completely different Lisa from the one you got. That's because I'm telling you all different stuff. I'm reading your body language. I'm watching what I know you're going to do and what I know you're not going to do. So everyone is different when coaching, everybody. A lot of the stuff is, my stories are all the same, but I'll tell you different stories than maybe your sister if she hired me. How do I hire you? I have a link above there up in my profile, and you just go in there and it has everything I've got to offer in there. And the coaching is, you just go in that coaching link and it's all there. It's all done on Zoom. I'll get back to you within 24 hours once you've hired me. Like once you've paid for that, it takes me 24 hours to process everybody. Okay, I don't know what to say to you about this one. My second son will be 2 tomorrow and hasn't said a single word. Give him time or seek speech therapy. I don't want to give you any advice on that because I don't know. What if he does have something wrong with his tongue or his palate, or mentally he's just not ready to speak? I don't know. So I can't really assess that, but I will tell you this story. I know someone, it was actually my cousin. They always used to tell this story. I don't know how accurate it was, but I'm sure it was based on a lot of facts, but I come from a really funny family. So my mom used to say, if you can still recognize a story after the 10th time it's been told, then that's amazing, because we used to embellish everything to make it funnier. Anyway, the story goes that my cousin didn't talk or walk till she was 3 years old. And I can see that. Very laid back, just a very calm personality. So, but she had a younger brother who was very hyperactive, and he was walking and talking like at 6 months old, and she'd just point to something and grunt, and he would get it for her. Then when she did finally get up and walk and talk, she was talking in sentences and running, and like it was just all perfect. So a lot of them don't walk and talk till really late, and parents worry about that. But I would, if you're really worried, go take your child to a doctor. But yeah, I have heard of lots of kids who don't walk or talk till they're 2 years old. So it's not unheard of. And they're just fine. When they do it really well. Yeah. Would you redirect a toddler grabbing toys from others with other toys? I don't know how to handle it. Certainly 16 months and under, yes, I would redirect them, turn them around, whatever. They don't play together anyway at that age. So they'll play side by side, but not together. But yeah, I would just say no. And then here's your toy. And then just watch them. You just have to supervise kids sometimes. It's not a matter of teaching them things, but teaching toddlers how to share is one of the most challenging things you'll ever do, because they don't really grasp it. They don't really understand that someone else maybe deserves to have that too. It's very hard for a toddler to understand that. If they think the only way they learn is if they think they're going to get hit. Like if the other kid will hit them, because they learn through physical stuff, right? So if they think, if I grab that toy again, last time I got hit, they might remember that. But you don't want that anyway, right? So, oh, toddler hitting. I actually have a course on that. If you look at my link above, it's just one of my little mini toddler courses, and it's toddlers who hit, bite, etc. And it goes in great detail about that. It's consistent corrective actions. You do not want to put up with that. Like, that's something that you would really want to train them out of. Might take 2 days, might take 7, but you got to be consistent, because I say consistent corrective actions, not words, actions. But they have to be consistent. If you forget to do it one time, if they bite and you don't do it one time, you don't correct them one time, they'll remember that. It's funny, they only remember the stuff you don't want them to remember. It's amazing. Got to give kids more credit. They're super smart. They are, but they don't have context yet. That's the thing. They're really clever, but they don't have they'll use their brains in inappropriate ways. Does that make sense? So I've never said kids are stupid. Say they're crazy. Toddlers are crazy. Yes, they're smart, but they don't know how to use that smarts yet. That's up to you to teach them. Does that make sense? That's with all these mini therapy sessions, and they say, well, they're listening to me. No, they're not. They're staring at you. So you understand? I understand. So you're listening. You won't hit again. No, I won't hit again. Do you know what they're hearing? La, 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 la. You know what they're repeating? La, 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 la. If they're 2 years old, they're not listening. They learn through actions. And you're watching them, and the parents, see, I just gave them a mini therapy session and discussing all their big feelings and big emotions. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just, that's not for them, it's for you. Okay, will the course still work if they go to daycare and they are hitting? Do I only use it at home? Okay, depends on the age, because when they're, okay. Oh, the course for 3 to 12-year-olds. Whatever happens at home, it's all at home. Whatever you do at home, once you get respect, once you're a leader, they take that personality they have with you. Their self-esteem is up. They feel proud of themselves. Now they know how to make good choices. They take that everywhere else they go. So if they're hitting at school and you become a good leader at home, they're not going to hit at school. Because if my kids had hit, well, they weren't hitters, but if they knew it would have got back to me. They wouldn't want mom to be disappointed in them. That would have upset them. You see, you're such a good leader that you influence them everywhere they go. Past the age of about 3.5 to 4, especially. When they're 3, they're still going to try stuff. But when they're 3.5 to 4, they take whatever they are with you. They respect you that much. They tend to respect everybody else too. It's just the way it is. It becomes who they are. My son was in grade 2, and his teacher said to him, "Why are you so nice?" And he said, "Mommy makes us be nice." And the teacher phoned me at her lunch hour. She thought that was the funniest thing. But yeah, so they take that personality everywhere. So does that make sense? Does that help? Plus, it's for you. That's designed to help you right through the age of 12. You're going to see things change. It talks about sex education, allowance, chores. It's not just for 3-year-olds. It's meant to take you right through to when they're 12. Teenagers are different. Things change. How do you be a good leader to toddlers? Consistent corrective actions when they do something bad. The rest of the time you are crazy and fun. Child-proof the house so you never have to say no, and keep rotating their toys and make their world fun. Be fun, be uplifting. You don't bond with a toddler at the nail salon. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. They're going to want to please you. They're looking to you. You become their leader through fun and correcting bad decisions, but they don't know what bad decisions are yet. They just do stuff. So you're correcting them, and they learn how to start respecting you. They just do. They'd start looking at you different. I know, because the way kids would look at me and someone else who wasn't a very good leader, it was very different. The way that they would look at me more, or any leader, they look at the leader more like that. They want to please the leader. It's just a natural instinct, because you're fun. You're really engaging with them. I'll show you some of the stuff I used to do. Like just silly things. People will say, well, I don't have time to play with my kids. And I would say something like this: well, while you're doing the dishes and you're talking to your kids, I said, turn around and then look at them like this. Just a second. So what else do you want to do today? Kids, I know it's corny. Kids love this stuff. Have stuff up your sleeve. Down here, just do silly things with kids. They love that. Do you know why? They pick up on the fact that you are enjoying them. You Connect with your little ones in their world. It's gold. They're going to start listening to you more. They're going to start looking to you. Ah, God, this is such a long story, and I'll try and shorten it. But anyway, I stupidly volunteered. No, I didn't volunteer. People volunteered me to look after a whole bunch of toddlers at a dance concert so their parents could sit in peace and watch their kids at the dance recital. I must have had 20 toddlers at any given time, and they were screaming for their parents. By the time they sat down with me for a couple minutes, not one of them was crying, and they were all looking at me like this. It was exhausting. But why do you think they were looking at me like this? Because I had stuff stuck up my nose. When they acted out or started screaming, I grabbed them, sat them in my lap, bouncing them around. I'm chatting to the other kids. And then when they stopped hitting or screaming, then I'd put them back. And then I'd go, good for you, yay. I'm in their world. I'm completely ensconced in their toddler world. Ensconced in it. Stuff like this and this, it just shows that you adore them and you're in their world, and they listen. When you, as soon as you enter their world, they change. They look at you differently. I did a lot of crazy stuff with kids, arm farts. They love all that stuff. Find your inner toddler. Have fun with them. They're going to listen to you more. The more you enter their world and have fun with them in their world, the more they're going to look to you for leadership and guidance. It's just magical how it happens. It does. It just does. Does that make sense, though? Enter their world. They're going to look at you differently. You don't take them to the play. You don't bond with little ones by taking them to the playground and sitting back on your phone. Oh, I spent all this time with them. I'm at the playground with them. Are you on the slide with them, though? Are you on the slide with them, going down there with them? That's the difference. Okay. I'm going to tell you a funny story, then I'm going to go. Just because I love this story. It's such a good one. There's no lesson in it. It's just funny. I was 9 months pregnant with my daughter. My son was 5 years old, and we had gone to Hungry Jack's. In Australia, it's Burger King over here, but in Australia, it's called Hungry Jack's. They had this really tall slide that was a tube that went down. You had to climb up this ladder that had a cage around it. So in case they fell, I guess, but you just bang your head on the back of the cage. But anyway, so you had to climb up and then go down this big tube that went like that. Okay, I'm 9 months pregnant, hot as anything in Australia, because it was like 40-something degrees. I had summer babies, stupidly. Anyway, 40-something degrees in Celsius. So over 100, humid. So I'm exhausted, and I'm just saying, okay, have fun. And he said to me, now he was a very cautious child. He was not a child to take risks he never fell or anything. He just was a really cautious child. He goes, can I go on the slide, Mommy? And I looked up at it. My instincts were screaming no, but I had baby brain. I was tired. And I said, sure, sweetie, go up on the slide. Stupid. He gets up at the very top. He's standing. There's no one else around. There's a couple people, but no one else is going to the slide or anything. And he gets to the top and he goes, I'm scared. And I went, oh, no, I knew him. And someone beside me, it was some young guy or something, says, do you want me to go up and get him? I said, no, he'll have a fit. He just wants me. I had to shimmy up, and I knew no way he would go down or back down the ladder. I had to shimmy up with my giant baby gut and trying to get sideways, smash the baby, move the baby around to get up this ladder. When I got to the top, he looked up at me. He knew me. My face was like this. I picked him up and chucked him down the slide, and he went flying down, banging his head all the way down. And he landed like this, flat on his back at the bottom of the slide. Then I had to go down. So I go down with my giant belly, and I'm banging into the sides. I come down to the end, land on my back too. And you know what he said to me? He says, can I go again, Mommy? I could have killed him. I said, we're going home right now. But anyway, that was one of my favorite stories with my son, because I was 9 months pregnant, fat, sweaty, and there's no way I was going to talk to him when I got to the top of that slide. He knew it too. He was comforted by the fact he knew I was just going to chuck him down. Mom knows how to take care of business. Anyway, that was one of my favorite. I got millions of stories, but anyway, that was my favorite stories. Anyway, if you want to write to me and tell me your favorite story, something like that, I would love to hear about it. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow. Go to the link up there. You can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. You're going to learn how to get respect because you're giving respect by being on that behavior board. Anyway, thanks so much. I'll talk to you again. Bye now.